Very good. We are on. Hello and welcome. It is August 6th. My goodness, the summer is really moving fast, and lots of things going on. Just so that you understand, the AIP is continuing to grow. There are going to be some new things that are going to be happening. Some of you have already heard a radio show that I programmed or that I broadcast or I was a guest on about a week and a half ago. No, it was a week. It'll be a week ago tomorrow. And that was to talk about periodontists and how patients should be seeing periodontists first. That will be followed, I think, by a newspaper article that will be published in a significant publication. The publication is called Florida Today, and that's our paper in Brevard County, Florida. That is owned by Gannett. Gannett is the group that owns USA Today. And so it will be a published article also talking about patients who have complex needs should be seeing a periodontist first. So I'm trying to put myself out there. The nice thing about the newspaper article is that if you feel the same way, you don't have to say it in your local community. You can use my article with my byline, and therefore I'm taking the heat rather than you. But still, the article can be republished, certainly if it's in a significant publication like that. So I will email you the link to that as soon as I know that it's published. It should be in Florida Today tomorrow, Thursday, August 7th. That's exciting. Those of you who are in Florida, and by the way, we have now a minority in Florida because we have so many people joining us from all over the country, which is nice. And that's Danielle and actually my wife Eleanor and I will be at the Florida Association of Periodontists meeting, and that will be in Orlando on Friday afternoon and Saturday. We'll have a little booth there. So those of you who'd like to stop in, we'd love to get to know you, chat with you a little bit, and talk with you more about the AIP. Those who are planning to be at the AAP in San Francisco, we will be there as well. So we look forward to meet you there. We're going to now get into the area of marketing, and I know we're talking about the new patient phone call, and you've got my emergency email. We have an awful lot of staff on, which is great, and I like that. Danielle will be on for Total Immersion members, which is almost all of you, in 2 weeks, and we'll be training staff. But really, this one is for doctors. Now, staff, stay here, because I want you to hear what I'm telling the doctors, and the doctors, if they're not on, are seeing this on a DVD, and I want to kind of change the pace a little bit. Many of you signed on because you feel that I have some level of expertise in external marketing, and perhaps I do. I think I do, and we've been able to make things work very, very well. But we want to understand how external marketing works, and external marketing works by stimulating a patient or a prospective patient to call you to make an appointment. Now, the first part is that stimulation to call you. And by the way, a lot of that can be done with internal marketing, and those are some of the things that we're going to cover. But it's got to be easy for your front desk staff to schedule a patient. And one of those ways of making it easy, and I know I'm going to get you upset, one of those ways of making it easy is to make sure that your pricing for an examination is correct so that you don't discourage the prospective patient. What do I mean by that? And you're going to hear a sample phone call in a moment, so you'll understand that. A patient who is calling you as a result of an ad, or even as a result of a friend referring, or even as a result of a doctor referring, is essentially checking you out through the front desk. And there are certain front desk skills that need to be mastered, and that's why I want the doctors to be on, because I want the doctors to understand that you're supervising what's going on at the front desk. And sometimes what's going on at the front desk is not exactly what you want. Not because the front desk people aren't intending on doing what needs to be done, but because of the barriers that we as doctors sometimes provide to the front desk people. And one of those barriers is pricing. Patients are calling, particularly if they're calling you for dental implants. And after all, we are marketing ourselves as the doctors of complex dentistry. If we're marketing ourselves as the doctors of complex dentistry, in fact, we have to be able to compete with those other doctors who are saying that they do complex dentistry too. And after all, everybody is marketing themselves in that particular way. Not everybody, but if you're looking at people who are marketing themselves as implantologists, people who are marketing themselves as cosmetic dentists, the clinics, the Clear Choice clinics, for example, all of these, or clinics maybe isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. All of these groups are marketing to get a patient in and get a patient in easily. And the way that's done is by price. Now, I understand that if we're spending a long time for an examination, it's worth whatever it is you charge for an examination. And if you spend $100,000 for a CT scan, it's worth spending $200, $300, $400, $500 for a CT scan. And if there are additional x-rays, I understand it's worth it to charge for those x-rays. But you know what? It's worth it to us, but it's not necessarily worth it to the prospective patient when the patient has the option of calling any office, and often calls several offices to decide on what office that person is going to select to make an appointment. And if we're charging too much for that initial examination, or if we bring the patient in for an examination at one price and then we say we need the CT scan at another price, we need FMX at another price, you're going to get patients awfully upset. You are. How do I know? You know how I know. I've been in your boat. I've been doing this for a long time. I charge big money for examinations. I know all of these things. And I understand that we all feel that our time is worth it, and it is. But frankly, if a patient calls your office and doesn't schedule, that's worth a heck of a lot more. Or maybe a heck of a lot less. Many of us are willing to spend lots of money on marketing, meaning spending thousands of dollars on external marketing techniques in a number of ways in which we may cover later on. But frankly, if the price of the examination, as well as the skills that we're going to talk about, are going to get in the way, then that patient isn't going to schedule, and therefore those are marketing dollars lost. The idea is to get the patient into your office. Once you get the patient to the office, then you wow that patient in whatever way you wow that patient. You have those skills. But if the patient never gets the chance to see you, you never get a chance to wow them. So I want you to look carefully. And by the way, I was really reluctant to lower my prices, but I want you to go on my website if you haven't done it already, www.drleesheldon.com. We have two prices. We have the one that's advertised on the website, and that's $79, which includes an FMX CT scan and anything that you'd want to take. And that brings a lot of patients into our office. And then once they're into the office, then you can charge whatever you feel you need to charge for the service that you're providing. But it's real important. And it is going to limit growth if we create barriers for our front desk people and don't allow those front desk people to use their skills in scheduling patients. So I really want you to look carefully at pricing. And you might say I'm all wet, just like I said to the person who told me this the first time, I can't do that. It costs too much for me for an examination. It's my time, blah, 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 blah. And I've got to tell you that even if you were just to pilot a program for a month, reduce your fees, and see how many new patients come in as a result of just doing that, plus the skills that we're going to talk about tonight and the skills that we're going to talk about, that Danielle's going to talk about in 2 weeks, and then you take a look and see what happened in that month, you're not going to lose anything by changing something for a month. No, you can try it. You can see how it works out. In order to be able to provide services to more patients, we're going to have to find a way of competing in the marketplace. And frankly, when patients are calling, they're looking at how are they received at the front desk? I mean, how's that phone call handled? And what's the cost coming in? They're going to look at that. And if they don't decide, I've said it, I'm saying it again, if they decide not to see you, then you never have the chance to wow them. And frankly, the patient is deprived of the opportunity to have good diagnostic procedures done before dentistry is practiced. So look, that's the marketplace. That's the way it is right now. And someday maybe I'll share my numbers with you. You'd be impressed. But it does involve getting that patient in, and that's what we have to do. And so there's some people who are doing it for free. I decided not to do it free because we got people who come in free, come in with certain expectations. But if they spend a certain amount of money, those expectations, those free expectations are diminished. I said there are two ways in which people come in. The people who come in off of the website or other ads that we do come in at $79. The people who come in who are referred by either doctors or by patients come in for $50 donated to our charitable giving campaign. So that means no dollars come to me at all. No dollars come to our office. They come in and they write a check to one of the 8 charities that we have in our charitable giving campaign, and that's the price of admission to our office. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt me at all. And frankly, if we didn't do that, it would hurt. So again, I'm asking you, give this a try. Change your pricing structure. Make it easy for a patient to make an appointment with your office. You will get more patients in, and you will be able to deliver more service and more treatment to those patients who really need us, who really need us as periodontists to be able to provide those services that they need. They don't have a method of comparing. We have a method of comparing. We know what it is that we can provide for our patients. We know that if a patient sees us, we are good diagnosticians and we are good prognosticators. And patients won't, when they see us, get the filling, the endo, the post, the crown, the perio surgery, the crack off, and then put in the implant. That's the battle we're fighting right now. And as diagnosticians, if we do it right the first time, that helps us tremendously. That increases our reputation as doctors of complex dentistry, or periodontists, whatever you want to call us. So, again, let's give that a try, okay? If you want to argue with me, by all means, send me emails. You're doing that, and I love the emails. So let's get on with tonight's subject, and we're going to talk about how to handle a prospective patient. And this is important information for anybody who's at the front desk and anybody, frankly, anybody who's looking at bringing more patients in. So the patient calls your office. Now what? There is only one purpose that you need to handle, or your front desk person needs to handle when calling the office. And do you know what that is? Schedule the patient. That's the only purpose. The purpose is not to answer questions. The purpose is not to talk about insurance. The purpose is not to talk about the procedures. The purpose is to schedule the patient. Everything is driven towards scheduling the patient. Those of you who are front desk staff, and there are a lot of front desk staff on tonight, I know, your whole purpose is to schedule the patient. And there's a certain technique, lots of techniques, I'm going to give you one, that you can exercise in order to make sure that patient is scheduled. I'm going to tell you, after I give you the technique, you're going to have to drill it with somebody else in order to be able to really get it down. But between this webinar and the teleseminar that Danielle's going to be, I think Danielle is actually going to be doing a webinar, so it will be online again in 2 weeks. Between those 2 episodes and your diligent drilling, you're going to increase the number of new patients that are coming into the office. Okay, so I want you to listen to a phone call, and this is a phone call with Jasmine. You see Jasmine right here. That's Jasmine at the front desk, and I want you to see how a phone call, and this is a routine phone call, should be handled. Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Sheldon's office. This is Jasmine. How may I help you?
Yes, I need to speak to someone regarding your dental implants.
Absolutely. And what was your first name?
Diane.
All right, Diane, and what is it that I can help you with today?
I've got a tooth missing, and a friend of mine had a dental implant done by Dr. Sheldon, and I was wanting to find out more about what it costs to have one done.
Okay. Well, we're running a great special right now. It's only $79, and it includes a comprehensive exam, any needed x-rays, and also a CT scan if needed, which that alone would cost you, over $200 anywhere else you go. And I do have an opening Monday, this Monday actually, August the 4th at 12.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, Diana, what is your last name?
It's Henderson.
All right. And then what is the best number to reach you back at?
321-555-1212.
All right. And I have 321-555-1212. Now, is this your home or your cell phone?
That is my cell phone.
Okay. And did you have a home phone number you would like to?
I do not.
Okay. And what is your current mailing address?
It is 123 Main Street.
And that's in?
Anytown, Florida.
And the zip code?
01234.
Okay, so I have 123 Main Street in Anytown, Florida, zip code 01234. So what I'll do is I will mail your paperwork out, and you can just fill that out and bring that in with you to your appointment. And then also with that special we have going on right now is a phone consultation with the doctor before you come in. So
he's going to actually call me?
He is.
Okay.
He is, yes. So would you be available this evening after 4:30?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. I'll put you down for your phone consultation this evening. And then, like I said, just look for that paperwork in the mail, and we will see you on August the 4th at noon.
Great. Thank you so much for your help.
No problem, Diane. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so what'd you think about that phone call? I know you can't talk to me right now, can you? I want to analyze that phone call. I just want to go back and I want to analyze a few things because we're going to talk about some basic principles tonight. And so let me go through the phone call briefly, actually more than briefly. Let me go over the phone call. Let me see if I can play it first. And let's separate out the phone call into its important parts, okay?
Dr. Sheldon's office. This is Jasmine. How may I help you?
Yes, I need to speak to someone regarding your dental implant.
Okay, so the first thing is when we're answering the phone, you're looking at the phone and the only thing that you have in your mind is answering that phone. The only thing you have on your mind is that patient because that's a patient who is a potential patient in the office. So any distractions that are coming in from the outside, okay, somebody else has to handle those distractions, and you're totally focused on answering the phone, okay? Now, listen to the next part of it. Jennifer's already said that I'm interested in dental implants. Notice what Jasmine's response is.
Absolutely. And what was your first name?
Diane.
So the first thing she did was to take control of the conversation by asking the patient her first name. Control of a conversation is often done by asking questions. And the control of the conversation does come from the front desk person. That doesn't mean that we're squelching anything that a new patient is saying. But understand the new patient has certain thoughts that need to be addressed and that person wants addressed. And our thoughts are to make sure that person is handled and handled well and is scheduled. Now, sometimes that may be, oh, we lost something. Let's go back for a second. There we go. So let's go back. Come on. Okay.
Great.
Okay, Diana, what is your last name?
It's Henderson.
All right. And then what is the best number to reach you back at?
321-555-1212.
Okay, so notice the next thing was that Jasmine concentrated on getting some data. Just in case they should become disconnected, you're getting the patient's phone number. How important is that? Well, will the patient become disconnected? Maybe, maybe not. But the patient may decide not to schedule. It's invaluable to have that phone number in front of you because there may be a reason for you to call that patient back later on. Maybe something has changed in their universe, and you have the opportunity then of asking the patient, have you been taken care of yet? Well, no, I had a I had to take care of a roofing job, so I couldn't do it right now. Well, good. Are you ready to schedule now? A good phone caller could take advantage of the fact that there's a phone number, but there's more. And let me give you more.
Great. And I have 321-555-1212. Now, is this your home or your cell phone?
That is my cell phone.
Okay. And did you have a home phone number you would like to?
I do not.
Okay. And what is your current mailing address?
It is 123 Main Street.
I want to go back for a second because I think we lost
Diana, what is it that I can help you with today?
I've got a tooth missing, and a friend of mine had a dental implant done by Dr. Sheldon, and I was wanting to find out more about what it costs to have one done.
Okay. Well, we're running a great special right now. It's only $79, and it includes a comprehensive exam, any needed x-rays, and also a CT scan if needed, which that alone would cost you, over $200.
Okay. So patient called with a typical request that is asked of every front desk person, how much does a dental implant cost? What did Jasmine answer? We're running a special right now. For $79 you can come in and you'll see the doctor for a complete examination, and you'll have full mouth x-rays or whatever x-rays are necessary, including a CT scan, and that's where that costs at least $200 in many offices. What did that do for the question of how much does the dental implant cost? It essentially moved the patient, the prospective patient, in the direction of scheduling with you. And of course, that was Jasmine's job, was to schedule Jennifer, and that's what she did. So I'll play a little bit more of that. We don't have to hear all of the data collection. I already gave you that one.
Anywhere else you go? And I do have an opening Monday, this Monday actually, August the 4th at 12.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, Diana, what is your last name?
It's Henderson.
All right. And then what is the best number to reach you back at?
32.
Okay, and so you get the idea. So in fact, there is the opportunity to schedule the patient right away. And that's what we're thinking about. Schedule the patient, schedule the patient, schedule the patient. Okay? Let's move on. So the idea is that when you're on the phone, the idea is to move the patient forward. One way you move, remember we talked about you can ask questions, but one way of moving the patient forward is to never just answer the patient's question. Okay, how much do dental implants cost? Well, dental implants can vary. They can vary depending upon your needs. How did you hear about our office? And so we transition into something else so that we're moving the patient forward. Well, we heard about your office, blah, blah, blah. As soon as you say, how did you hear about your office, that's a transition question. You're transitioning the patient from how much does it cost to how did you hear about the office, and now you as the front desk person are in control of the conversation. Get it? And we're going to come up with lots of different examples of how that works. So if I'm not clear the first time, hopefully by the time we complete this this webinar tonight, it'll be a little bit clearer, and then you'll have some documents that you can study so that you can make it even easier for yourself. Okay. So there's a difference. There's a difference between the prospective patient and the referred patient. Understand, the referred patient was referred. Let's assume the patient was referred by your best referral source. You know that referral source who refers only to your office and doesn't refer to any other periodontist, and you have those. So you know when that patient calls, or preferably if that general dentist front desk staff calls you to make the appointment, that appointment's made. It doesn't require as much skill as the prospective patient. See, the prospective patient, as I said earlier, is one who's shopping, and not necessarily shopping for price. They're shopping for attitude, they're shopping for friendliness, they're shopping for caring, and they're shopping really for competence and expertise. And it's you at the front desk, who are reflecting all of those. Pretty big job, isn't it? And it is a big job. You know, you have to, you're essentially taking the quality of the office and you're distilling it all down into that single phone call. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. And so there are, and that's why we think we can answer the phone, but there are certain techniques and certain methods. And one thing is that the fact that a patient who's coming in or is calling you, chances are maybe calling 2 or 3 or 4 other offices. And if they don't schedule with you, chances are they'll schedule with one of those other offices because they've called. They've done it because of your website. They've done it because of a TV ad. They've done it because they've heard about you, whatever it is, but they've heard about other people too. And so you're taking a patient with a lower level of commitment because they're not referred by your best referral source. And essentially you're bringing the patient up to the point where they're ready to schedule with you. It's a big responsibility. So the first part is to make sure that you're answering with enthusiasm in your voice. Okay? Phone rings. You smile at the phone. You smile at the phone. And you're ready with enthusiasm to answer that phone. People buy. People schedule. People make decisions with enthusiastic people. Tell me, when was the last time you bought anything from somebody who was angry? When was the last time you bought anything from somebody who was bored? Well, maybe you're more likely to buy something from somebody who's bored. You're certainly not ready to do it with somebody who's angry. But if somebody's enthusiastic about you or your decisions, don't you feel good? Don't you want to make an appointment with that person? Don't you want to buy from that person? So we want to make sure that you are that person. Okay? Next thing, answer the questions briefly and then take control of the conversation with transition questions. Okay, so let's go over those transition questions. Here's a transition question. May I ask who I'm speaking with? How did you hear about our office? Let me tell you about the new patient special offer we have right now. Okay, 2 questions and then a statement. Okay, so whenever you answer a question, move the conversation forward with a transition question. Don't just let the answer that you're giving sit there, because you know what the next thing is? Then the patient or prospective patient will then ask another question. You want to get past that. And so that if you're asking the question, then you're moving the patient to the point where that patient is answering questions. It gives you control of the conversation and allows you to move that conversation forward. Always with a high tone, always with enthusiasm, and write down some of these questions that you might want to ask. And sorry for scratching my nose. I don't know why, but I am. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So you answer the question and be ready to have a transition question to move the patient forward. Okay? Always make it your goal to schedule the patient. The patient can be scheduled at any time during this conversation. Don't feel that you have to go through all 4 or 5 steps, and I've given you a 4-step sequence, but there's actually 5 steps in this. But if the patient is ready to schedule after answering with enthusiasm in your voice, don't feel you need to do anything else. Hey, I need an appointment with Dr. So-and-so. Good. We have an appointment on August 10th at 5 p.m. Are you ready for that appointment? Yes. Good. We'll schedule, and that's it. Okay. And of course, then there's other information you want to get, and you want to get their data, and we'll talk about that. But you can schedule anybody at any time in this sequence, and then always collect pertinent data on the caller, whether the patient schedules or not. We're going to show you some examples of that. It's important that you get data. You know, just because the patient has called you on this particular day doesn't mean the patient is ready to schedule on this particular day. But if you get their data, then if you have a newsletter, if you have an email newsletter, if you have a YouTube video, and I'm going to show you all of that this year during the AIP, if you just want to follow up with a patient, you have the data there. And the data you want is, well, you know the data you want. You want name, you want address, you want phone number, and you want email address. If you have those items, then you can get in touch with the patient. And if the patient isn't ready to schedule now, the patient may be ready to schedule the next time you contact that person with, let's say, an article that your doctor wrote. And doctors, yes, you have to start writing articles. If you're not writing them already, start writing them. I don't care what it's about. It can be about scaling. It can be about root planing. It can be diagnostics. It can be about implants. It can be about soft tissue grafting. Whatever it is, I want you to start writing some things. Because if the patient doesn't schedule, guess what? Your front desk person says, can I have your name and address? Dr. So-and-so just my doctor just wrote a great article on the thing that you're talking about. Just wrote a great article on implants. How about if I send that to you? And then the patient is more willing to give the name, address, email address. Okay? So there's a way you can collect the data, but doctors, you have to produce the material first so that your front desk staff can say, I've got this great, whatever it is, booklet. Let me just have your name and address, and I'll send it right out to you. Okay? So the way it goes is this: greeting, transition, schedule, data. Greeting, transition, schedule, data. Okay? Say it. 1, 2, 3. Greeting, transition, schedule, data. I can't hear you. Greeting, transition, schedule, data. Greeting, transition, schedule, data. Greeting, transition, schedule, data. Let's commit that one to memory. And if you don't have it, if it isn't committed to memory, write down those 4 blocks and put it at your desk. And doctors, I want you to write that down too, because this is great material to go over at staff meetings. And something like this webinar would be a great thing for a staff meeting as well. Now, I do not mean to pick on anybody, but I want to give you an example of what a call that, and by the way, we have called some offices, some of your offices, some offices on the outside. And what you're hearing now is not unusual. This is the norm. This phone call is the norm. Let's listen.
Yes, I need to speak to someone regarding dental implants.
Okay, and were you referred to our office?
No, I just did some searching on the internet.
Okay, and what is it? Maybe I can help you. What is your question?
Who am I speaking with?
My name is Lola.
Lola. Okay, wanted just to know more about it. I do have a tooth that is missing, and it's been missing for quite some time. Want to know, first of all, how much they cost.
Okay, well, actually what we would do is have you come in for an appointment, a consultation, and an examination, and doctor could specifically tell you what it is that you need, and he would work up a treatment plan. I wouldn't be able to quote any fees over the phone.
Okay, not even just like a ballpark?
No, I really can't.
Okay. Now, do you guys do everything there?
In our office?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you mean by everything here? We don't do the restorative
Which is?
part, which is the crown. We would do the implant. We would place the implant.
Okay. So I would have to find somebody else to do the rest.
Your general dentist would be doing your restoration.
I haven't seen one for a long time, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, what would that that first visit be? How much is that?
$184.
Okay, and what does that include? What will I get for $184?
It's a comprehensive examination, oral cancer screening, a periodontal, a complete periodontal evaluation. If you don't have x-rays, you said you haven't seen your dentist in a while, then they would probably require some x-rays in the area of the implant that you're looking to have placed.
And is that included in the $184?
No, that would be additional.
And how much would that be?
You know what, I would have to check because I actually don't do any of the billing, so I would have to check and I can let you know.
Okay. And I've also been told something about a scan that I would have to have if I'm doing an implant. Is that something you do in your office?
Yes, we do. And that's $415.
By itself?
By itself, yes. And it's read by a radiologist.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at probably $600 and plus an x-ray. Now, does that get credited towards an implant if I have an implant done in your office?
No, it does not.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye now.
Okay. Now, Lola was given the tools that she was given. Whatever tools that she had, that's what she did. Okay? This isn't Lola. If Lola's trained, she can do something like this.
Good morning, Dr. Sheldon's office. This is Jasmine. How may I help you?
Yes, I need to speak to someone regarding your dental implants.
Absolutely. And what was your first name?
Diane.
All right, Diane. And what is it that I can help you with today?
I've got a tooth missing, and a friend of mine had a dental implant done by Dr. Sheldon, and I was wanting to find out more about what it costs to have one done.
Okay. Well, we're running a great special right now. It's only $79.
Oh, you've already heard this one.
It includes a comprehensive exam.
I think this is the same one.
X-rays and also a CT scan if needed.
But listen
which
anyway.
that alone would cost you, over $200 anywhere else you go. And I do have an opening Monday, this Monday actually, August the 4th at 12.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, Diana, what is your last name?
It's Henderson.
All right. And then what is the best number to reach you back at?
321-555-1.
Okay, so you've already heard that one. Sorry to repeat that. I thought I had two different ones, but that's okay. You get the idea. Bring the patient forward. Bring the patient forward, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what we can accomplish with this. So in special situations, they always involve a brief answer and an immediate transition. Notice the transition that Jasmine did. We're going to go over a few other transitions tonight. Okay, so what are the typical questions? Do you take insurance? Let's talk about how we would answer that. We aren't on any provider's list, but we're happy to file the paperwork for you to submit for reimbursement. Then transition. How'd you hear about our office? Or what do you need to see the doctor for? Okay, so you briefly answer the question, and then you ask a transition question. Okay, we've got other things we can do. You can say we have two financing companies that a lot of our patients use while waiting for insurance reimbursement, and then transition. We are very proud not to be a provider on a provider's list because providers limit the type of work that we can do. Isn't that the truth? Okay, how did you hear about Dr. So-and-so? And so brief answer, move on to the transition question, then offer an appointment time, and then transition to a close. How much does an implant cost, or how much does X cost? Well, it's difficult to be sure how much the actual cost will be before the doctor has a chance to find out what kind of treatment is needed. We can go ahead and set up an appointment for you, and he'll be able to do a complete exam and determine the specifics of your case as well as give you an estimate of cost. Our next available appointment is, okay, so you've given the answer, and then you say the next available appointment is. Okay, we haven't even talked about how much it's going to cost, and we haven't even talked about that kind of an offer. Okay, it's just here's an answer, and then the next statement is my next available appointment is. Okay, and then the patient has the opportunity of scheduling. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, what if the patient isn't ready to schedule, and we go through all of this sequence, and the patient isn't ready to schedule? Okay, then we get the patient's data, name, address, and phone number. Okay, and as I said, offer a free something that you can send to that person. That's how you're going to get the patient's data. Okay, name, address, email, and phone. I guess I got ahead of myself. Okay, and that's good for newsletter, YouTube, update, email, blog, anything you send out. And by the way, doctors, the more material you send out, the more patients are going to come in. You don't have to spend a lot of money on TV advertising. You don't have to spend money on the fancy materials, at least not yet. There are a lot of things you can do very, very cheaply using email. It costs almost nothing. Or if you send something out by direct mail, an article that you've written. These are materials that patients don't ordinarily get. And the patients are going to appreciate you for the knowledge that you have. You're demonstrating your expertise just by your writing. If you're not good at writing, you can write the thoughts, and you can hire a writer to put those thoughts into into patient-friendly language. And by the way, we want to make sure it's always in patient-friendly language. We never want to use a term in anything we've written or anything that we've said that isn't understandable to the public, because then the public just goes through confusion, not in understanding what it is that we've said. So if you need help with that, chances are your spouse or somebody that you know very well, or somebody at a university that's close by, could help you with writing and could organize your thoughts so you can send something out and send things out on a regular basis. Advertising is done on a regular basis. And this is phone answering, but at the same time, we're into this. Advertising is done on a regular basis. Coca-Cola advertises every day. So does your local hospital. So does everybody that you see. Okay? Advertising, in your case, is advertising your expertise, and that's by writing and sending things out. Okay, so let's listen to a phone call where a patient may not schedule, and this is how it would be handled.
Dr. Sheldon's office, this is Jennifer. How can I help you?
Yes, I wanted to speak with someone more about possibly getting an implant.
Okay, and who am I speaking with?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Let me grab your phone number so if we get disconnected, I can call you back.
Sure. It's 267-9981.
9981. And what is it you need to know about implants?
I really don't know everything that is involved, and I've had a really, really bad history with dentists, and I just would like to find out a little bit more what it entails.
Oh, absolutely.
Oops, sorry.
Absolutely. Right now, Dr. Sheldon is running a special for $79, which includes a very comprehensive exam, any x-rays that he may need, a CT scan, whatever may be needed so he can determine what you may need for those implants. Will you be available on Wednesday at 10:30?
Well, actually, like I said, I've had a really, really bad past dealing with dentists, so let me think about it.
Absolutely. Let me do this. Dr. Sheldon has written a book, him and his son, that tells you a lot about dentistry that might help answer some of the questions that you do have. Can I get your address and I can send you a copy of the book?
Oh, yeah. It's 321 Winding Avenue.
Is that here in Melbourne?
Yeah, it's in Melbourne.
And the zip?
32905.
Perfect. I will get that out in the mail to you. In the meantime, if you have any questions, my name is Jennifer. Do not hesitate to call.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Okay, you get the idea. Okay, so let's put the whole thing together. Greeting, transition, scheduled data. Greeting, transition, scheduled data. And let's listen to one more call.
Dr. Sheldon's office, this is Jennifer. How can I help you?
Yes, I was looking to speak with someone to find out some information on dental implants.
Okay, and may I ask who I'm speaking with?
Rebecca.
Okay, Rebecca. Thank you so much for calling the office. What's your phone number, just in case we get disconnected?
321-254-9090.
9090. Okay, and what's your questions about dental implants?
I've had a rough past as far as dealing with dentists, and it's really, really hard for me to trust them anymore. So, I've kind of stopped going for about probably 5 years or so, and I'm missing my 3 front teeth now. I just moved to the area, and I've already heard about Dr. Sheldon.
Well, I can sympathize with you. I'm the scaredy cat of the office. I have had the same thing, bad experience with dentistry in the past, and just avoided it altogether. But I can reassure you, Dr. Sheldon has been placing dental implants for well over 30 years. He was probably one of the first in Central Florida to actually place dental implants, places more dental implants than any other doctors in Brevard County, along with all the technology he has to actually do your surgery on the computer before he even does it on you. So, yeah, it is amazing to watch it, see it, experience it. You're going to love the staff. You're going to love the environment. You're going to love everything about the whole experience. We're going to show you that dentistry does not have to be scary. So let's do this. We are running a $79 special right now for our new patients. I have something on Wednesday, which is August 6th at 10:30. Does that work in your schedule?
Actually, that's my day off, so yes.
Perfect. Along with that appointment, the doctor is going to call you prior, just kind of review what's going on, your experiences, so he's better prepared for your appointment. Would you be available after 4:30 on Monday, which is August 4th?
The doctor himself is going to call me?
The doctor himself is going to call you.
Well,
That'll
yeah.
give you just a little taste of the experience you're going to have when you do come into the office.
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Let me grab your mailing address because we like to send out the paperwork so you can fill it out at your convenience.
It's
260
Winding Way.
Winding Way.
And that's here in Melbourne.
Okay, and the zip?
32901.
32901. Okay, great. So Dr. Sheldon will call you after 4:30 on Monday, August 4th, and then we'll see you here in the office on Wednesday, August 6th at 10:30. I look forward to meeting you.
Me too. Thank you.
Take care, Rebecca.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So if you're at the front desk is a sales position. Did you know that? You're there to sell the office. And you don't do that by coming up with things that aren't true. The patients are calling you. The prospective patients are calling you. And by the way, your doctors are members of the AIP. If your doctors are members of the AIP, the doctors are looking to get more patients into the office because we as periodontists are the best people to serve those patients who have complex needs. I said that before. Some of you weren't on the call at the beginning. That's the important thing. Well, how does a patient know that? They know that by your understanding who your doctor is and what your doctor does and what your staff does and what it's like to be in your office. If you don't know what your doctor is, ask your doctor who your doctor is, what he's done. If you're brand new, you need to know that. Get that and create a little script for yourself. I've got to tell you, Jennifer's been doing this for a long time, but not in dental for a long time. And it did take Jennifer is obviously naturally very, very good on the phone. She's fantastic. But it did take some drilling on her part. And I mean drilling, really talking to the wall or talking to somebody else so that this becomes smooth and it becomes error-free. And so a patient feels comfortable talking to her and a patient feels welcome and wants to schedule. Jasmine did the same thing. Jasmine's younger. And Jasmine needed some help. It was drilling. And no, not the kind of drilling you do in the office. You know what I'm talking about. It's actually doing it and doing it and doing it again until it really becomes second nature. And then when it does, it will be second nature. And then you'll find more creative elements that you can put in to make this really your own. Okay? Now, doctors and staff, when should the phone be answered? From 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, with no lunch break. Oh, staff, now you're going to get upset with me, aren't you? Listen, when you get a lunch break, when do you call for your appointments? Yes, during your lunch break, or when you get off work at 5 o'clock. In fact, the most popular times in our office are the lunch hours. So, for those who are still, and I hope you're not doing it, but if you're still doing it, where you have an answering service or even worse, that you have an answering machine saying we're off for lunch or we're gone for lunch, we'll be back at 1 p.m. You've got to stop that. Just got to stop that. You've got to arrange the schedules. You've got to stagger your front desk schedules. Some way that phone needs to be answered. You know why? Because when that phone is answered during lunch, you're going to get more new patients in. You are. And so if you're thinking, well, how much more is it going to cost me to hire additional staff to be able to do that? Or whatever you do, let go of that thought really, really fast. Because more patients will schedule when you're available. And you're not available, you know what that prospective patient is going to do? That patient's going to call the next office. They're not going to wait for you to come back. So be there. Be there the entire day. Why till 6 p.m.? Because people get off work at 5 p.m. And so we need to have the phone answered by somebody till 6 p.m. And you will get calls after 5 p.m. I see some doctors, and we see it right around here, that the staff wants to go home at 5 o'clock, and so they stop answering the phone at 4:30. Missed out on a lot of patients by doing that. don't have to externally market to be able to get more patients in. Just be there to answer the phone. Well, we take Wednesdays off or we take Fridays off. Okay, the doctor may take that time off, but there needs to be a staff member answering the phone on Friday or Wednesday or whatever that day off is for the same reason. If you're not there to answer the phone, that prospective patient is going to call somebody else. If we're trying to get new patients in, don't spend the money on external marketing. Please don't. Let's make sure that phone is answered, and it's answered from 8 to 6 every single day, and you'll find more new patients coming in. Okay. So this is a complicated phone script. It's really not complicated at all, but this is the phone script that we made up in our office. Danielle and Jennifer and Jasmine came to put together this phone script, and I'm going to be emailing this out to everybody who's on the call tonight. And I have your email address because you entered that in when you enter the webinar. Your assignment now is to study this phone script and start drilling it, and start drilling with each other so that you're really, really good at it. So that by the time Danielle gets onto the webinar 2 weeks from now, and you're going over it with her, it's second nature to you. Wouldn't that be nice? So we're going to get that email to you. We'll probably get it tonight before I leave the office, and so we can start studying that. Okay. So the next webinar is going to be 2 weeks from now, so this is August 6th, so that's August 20th at 9 p.m. Danielle will be leading the webinar, and she'll be speaking about this from a staff viewpoint, and Danielle's phone skills are superb. So we look forward to having you on there, and I want to thank you for spending the time. I know for most of you, it's close to 10 p.m. Some of you, I know it's only 7 p.m. and that's okay. But you stayed up late, you stayed with me on this, and now let's take this to heart and let's really make this phone answering job one that brings in more patients and brings a better practice to all of you. Thanks. I'll see you soon.